down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
Now, the great thing is, in business, there are several ongoing predictable things that can be managed by people other than entrepreneurs. Systems. Now, here's a couple things. Sometimes you're going to fail. And that's okay. As we said earlier, another great book is John C. Maxwell. Does anybody know what that book is? Who said that? Oh man, did you get a book already? No. Oh, come on up here, man. Failing Forward. Or we can pass it back to you, man. Take it a long time. Anybody else read a book that impacted them? Yes, Margaret.
Buy Back Your Time. Recommended by Jack One.
Buy Back Your Time. Good job, Jack.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Don't change my night. Where's my book?
You pick which one you want. Man, you spunky. All right. Okay, so here's some things. Now, here's some scenarios where I have failed because I was trying to follow someone else's direction. Okay? Someone else's idea may not be your idea. Does that make sense? Has anybody ever been down this? Because we're about to get real serious here. Anybody ever felt like they followed someone else's advice? This advice, a client of mine told me, I'm like, where'd you get that money from? Oh, I got this from this broker. Like, why'd you go to this broker? Well, everyone else goes to this broker. Well, what's the interest rate you're paying on this broker? And he just didn't even know why he was doing something because he was following someone else, okay? I really want you guys to take a step back and think about, is this the right direction? Typically for me, I try to ask 2 or 3 people. Friends, you call me up or text me anytime. Hey, what do you think of this? It takes 30 seconds to call someone and say, what do they think of this? Within 2 seconds, they can kind of give you their perspective. It doesn't mean you have to follow their perspective. Or if you're creating a new business name or a logo, hey, what do you think of this? And get 2 or 3 people's perspective, and then you make that decision, and then you move forward. When I read Millionaire Fastlane, I was making $100,000 a year owning OKBride.com, Oklahoma Bridal Show. And in the book, it said, get out of businesses that have low barrier of entry. And OK Bride at the time we were dominating in the bridal show market. But it just seemed like every year I was fighting someone coming into Oklahoma City to do a bridal show. There's actually a new bridal show this year. And it was a constant drug out battle in my mind. I'm constantly spending money on marketing, trying to outmaneuver these folks. And when I read Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, it said, get out of barriers of entry that were low barriers. So anyone with a credit card can rent out a facility and go solicit vendors and have a bridal show. I mean, that's kind of the simple premise of it. And when I read that book, I was like, okay, and this is in 2011, I'm going to sell OK Bride because it's a low barrier of entry. I'm going to go full-time in commercial real estate. I'm going to start buying apartments. So of course, I made a decision. I read the book, made the decision. As soon as I made the decision, everybody said, that's the stupidest thing you should do. Seriously, I had a lot of friends say, you're going to sell a $100,000 a year business? Yes. To do what? Go into real estate, full-time. And I was buying rental properties at the time. And, well, doesn't your daughter want to have it? At that time, she's 15 now, so I sold that 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I mean, I didn't know what my daughter wanted to do. Well, that's what people think, right? Because they own a business, you're going to pass it on to your family like a donut shop? Okay? And then someone said this to me. Well, can't you just hire somebody for $50,000 a year and you make 50? Doesn't that sound easy? That sounds logical. Right? Well, then in my mind, it was hard because all those things that they said to me were pretty solid. Right? My daughter may want to be in the bridal business. Oh. Or, man, I'm greedy. I can make $50,000 and do nothing. Right. And then I realized, no, I'm gonna do what this book says. Get out of low barrier entry businesses and focus and go ballistic. And within a short amount of time, I became a multimillionaire. I bought like 30 houses that year. I bought an apartment building that year, because I just laser focused on it, on faith. Okay, another one story is an HVAC business. And that someone just recently asked me this. I was, I'm trying to think what year this is, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I was in a group of successful real estate investors. You have to have like 50 units or more to be in this group. I was in this group, and I don't remember when the deals went really dry. When was that year? Does anybody remember that year when there was like no deals like there is now, but this is like 5 or 6 years ago? Can't remember that year. And I was like, I had to think about, I'm an entrepreneur. I gotta think of ways to make more money. I gotta make more money. I gotta figure this out. So I go to this group of 50 other or so investors, and I'm like, I'm gonna start an HVAC company. And I thought I was gonna get shot that day. They almost murdered me. And this dude, to this day, has shook in my core. He turned to me and said, it sounds like you need to be a better investor. Right? But everybody else was trying to do derivatives or do complementary businesses to real estate. Because there's a time that I used to, you remember when everybody was stealing copper and welding cages? I had a business that welded cages on condenser units. That's how, and I'm not operating that business today. It crashed and burned. Because I was not focused, because I was listening to someone else or I was chasing something else, but I could have been a better investor. And that really changed me. And that's what this group is. There might be one thing that you hear today or next month that now I know. I was really kind of broken about that, and then I became a better investor. And that's when I went into syndication school and started studying. Another thing that I heard is apartments are the next step for your success. That's not necessarily true. Or my favorite is at one time I had like 10 Airbnbs right when Airbnbs came into the market, when it became the Airbnb movement. And it is a damn job. It is the hardest job, I think, harder than a real estate investor. Because I remember 2 Airbnb stories. Someone was so mad at me that the internet went down. And I was like, I'm not an IT guy. I'm sorry. And then the next one was their child threw up on all the sheets. And I said, hey, no worries. I mean, you know, kids get sick, but you're going to have to pay for those sheets. I don't think we can salvage those sheets. Oh, no. That's my job. My job. Okay. And that's when I sold all my Airbnbs. So, or the third one is they think it's a hotel, that you're at their beck and call. Okay? So now Airbnb for someone else, they may love that attention. They may love to save everybody with the passcode. And they may want to run over there and clean up poop everywhere. That's just not what I want to do. So what you want to do, what someone else wants to do is totally different, and that's okay. But you have to make the decision that's best for you, and you have to own up to that decision. All right, you got to have a target, Alan. You got to figure out what in the world that you want to do. After you get that, you got to lay the foundation. You got to get focused, and that's what we're going to do together there, Alan, next week, or whenever we meet. We're just going to get down. We're just going to get down. We'll lay the foundation. Where are you? Where's your assets? What do you want to do? How much money do you want to make? We got to lay the foundation down. Okay? This is where I'm at. I'm good at this. I'm scared at this. I don't like this. I want to do this. Okay? And you got to be candid. And I'll warm you up in the beginning. You know, I'm going to get you all love and feeling good. And the next thing you know, I'm going to ask you the hard questions. And hopefully you're honest. And that's the foundation. Then I'm going to get you focused. And then I'm going to give you homework, and you have to take action. And then you're going to have to text me back and say, yep, I did it, I didn't do it, I didn't do this, and then we can gauge you from there. And then you got to measure. By this day, this would be great for Caleb. He already knows he has a $2,500 a month goal. That's awesome. Thank God he's got one goal. Now he probably needs 5 Gs. He doesn't know that yet. Because he's going to go first class somewhere. Or business class. No, he doesn't want to go. Okay, well, I want to go first class. I'm just saying. My numbers, when I exited the world, it was $1,500 a month. You know, my exit's a little bit more now because, you know, I like amenities. But still, we'll roll with you to $2,500. So you got this $2,500. Now we just need to figure out how many, whatever this asset is or what this cash flow is, and then he has to figure out, when can I get this by? How many houses do I need to buy? And then you need to add, then you need to have some safety nets in there, and then we just build on this core thing, and then we just kind of protect this present. And then you start executing the plan, and then you start living free. And then you have the KPIs, which is key indicators, and then there's results. He should be living his dream. So when are you going to get this done, Caleb?
75K, and then it's all set.
So you just need $75,000. One time, or every month, every year? This is kind of bizarre. You're going to run out of money, homie. What's $75,000 going to do for you?
It'll furnish the pads for the Franklin Village, and they'll account for more than the $2,500 a month.
Okay. Do you know what the cash flow would be, the gross number? So you need a net number of $2,500.
Yeah, 6,700.
Okay, so there's some margin there. Okay. Now this $75,000, is it a loan or is that to pay it all out, to build it all up? A loan. And then you factor in interest, taxes going up, a ratio. Okay. Can he do it? Isn't $75,000 doable? Pretty easy. Jack has the money. He'll give it to you. Okay, who would give him $75,000? Right there. 2, 3. I'll give you $75,000. Let's say you got 4 or 5 people in there. It's going to be, now I only loan on assets, not ideas. No offense. No, Tal loans on ideas. She'll give it. I'll just play it. All right, here's some mistakes that you're not prepared. In that case, if you're going to go borrow money, you're going to have to be prepared for any objections. What's your assets? What's your game plan? What's your tool? A lot of people can't find success is because they are not prepared for the answers that they need to have. They don't have a financial statement. They don't have a market analysis. They haven't done a SWOT analysis on the business. Okay? You got to be prepared and anticipate what you're going to need to solidify what your dreams are. They're focused more on the cost. To build a successful restaurant, man, I couldn't focus on the cost. I had to focus on the best quality service for the long term. Okay? A lot of people just try to cut a corner, get a cheaper bookkeeper, and then 6 years from now they're in an audit and they're getting hammered because they didn't hire a professional person that's going to stand up to them or stand up for them. Or, you know, the number one question when you go hire an accountant, if I get audited, what are you going to do for me when I get audited? That's the number one question you should ask your accountant. Everybody should go home tomorrow on Monday and ask their accountant, if I got audited, can you represent me? Will you be representing me, and what does it look like? And then, have you been in an audit before? Okay? Get that prepared now so you'll be ready. When you build this, like Caleb, I know I've known him for a while, and he's got this right attitude. He knows it's not instant, right? So you got to understand that it's going to take some time. But don't put out like 30 years from now. Like I use benchmarks, 6 months, where am I going to be in 6 months? I have it in my phone, am I where I want to be in this position that I want, you know? And then I just set another benchmark, another goal. There's a reason why I only got to $2,000 and then I can adjust. But for Caleb, do you have a general idea of when do you think you'll get to that point? Like, is it 2 years, did you say 2, or I said 2 years?
No, I won't take that long.
Okay, so how long do you think it's going to take?
It'll take me 4 months after I get that. So
To get the 75,000?
yeah, the next 6 months.
Okay, so you think it's going to take you 2 months to get the 75,000, and then 4 months to utilize the money and have it operational. Okay, so that would be what month? September? Okay, is there any Caleb friends in here? Anybody know Caleb personally? Nobody? Jack, get your phone out then. Put in your phone, get your phone out, Jack. Put in there September 28th, that's my birthday. September 28th. You text Caleb, how is the business going? Are you cash flowing $2,500? That's the best thing you can ever do for somebody. And do it in a way that's a loving way. Don't do it in a way that's like, you suck because you didn't get it done. No, he may have circumstances arise. Maybe his funding takes 3 months versus 2 months. And then he tries to order concrete, and concrete takes longer. Or he misjudges. All those things are going to happen in time. But the greatest thing you can do is give him a word of encouragement or go celebrate with him. Okay? And then stop micromanaging people and obsessing over stuff. Just let it go. That's where the book led him by Mel Robbins. All right, 2 books. Now, another great book is, it's not how, it's who. Okay? So this is a really, really good book. This one. If you really want to scale, and this is where mentors and coaches come in, is like, I am not good at, I'm a good remodeler, I guess. I can remodel houses. I've probably done 200-300 houses in my lifetime. But when I got into the restaurant business and building a restaurant in the commercial space, I found the who. Who is the #1 dude that is building restaurants, that has done all the Dutch Brothers, that has done all the Starbucks, and that does, that's the guy I hired. Okay? And it may be 10% more than an average GC, but I'm telling you, he knew exactly, he's the who. I should just show pictures of all the concrete that we cut up, and the gas lines, and the oil, and the septic line, all this other stuff, or grease trap. All these things that I had no idea. But he was the who. So you need to find, if you really had a dream, Caleb's is kind of interesting. Is it a mobile home park? Is that what you're building? No, tiny home? So for me, if I was working with Caleb, I would find someone that's already doing tiny home community somewhere, and just duplicate what they're doing. They're the who. It's not the how, it's the who that can lead you into it. Does that all make sense? This is a defining moment for you. This could be the key that unlocks the door for you. All right, so then we're going back into systems. And hope is not a strategy, okay? It's not gonna work by just hoping. It works, life works, success works by making a decision and having a strategy. And that book before that is a strategy by Who's the Who, okay? Now, running out of system. So this is how, if you were here last Thursday, I've already covered this, but this is everything I do has a system. If I had more time, I'd show you my system on the restaurant, but we'll get it next time I come back, and we'll get that up there. But this is how I rent out my units. Number 1, I qualify the tenant. I qualify them before we even get rolling. So I don't waste any time with them, and they haven't driven by the property, and they don't know when to move in. I ask them these 4 questions. And this right there, these 4 questions just qualifies them if they're gonna be a tenant I'm gonna be able to work with. And usually when I do stage 1, if they don't reply back to my email, they're not in compliance in my world. If they can't follow quick instructions like answer these 4 questions, they're probably not my tenant. Okay? So, and then step 1 leads to step 2. We screen them. Are they approved? Are they rejected? And then we have a system that goes to there and goes there. The systems just work so you can do what you need to do best. And some people love to follow instructions. And this is the instructions for them. And it's okay that my instructions may be the best instructions, and they need to be working and fixed, but you just have to go through that process. So then I run out every tenant that ever applies, or at least so someone interested that answers those 4 questions, I say, hey, you're 90% approved. And the reason why I do that is so I don't want them to deviate from my system and try to find a property somewhere else. So, you get them going. And I send them an email, that's how I send them emails. Then I do the electronic stage 4. Is it approved? Is it rejected? I send an email. Instructions very clear. This is your deposit. This is when it needs to be back by. You have 5 days to make that deposit. That's another little hurdle that we do. because some people will just be looking at 4 or 5 other units and they don't know which one to pick. So we got to set the tone. You got to have all of my messaging, and even in my sales stuff, if I'm raising money, has a sense of urgency. When I'm buying a property, I have a sense of urgency for the buyer, for the seller. I'm always creating a sense of urgency. Because if you don't create a sense of urgency or an expectation, no one's going to know. Then they're not motivated. And then you're waiting on it. And then you rent out the unit. This is all those stages. And then a checklist. I have a checklist for everything. So, not too hard, right? Some of you guys have saw this already. So there should be no excuses. And then we'll run through these steps. You take inventory, kind of almost like your goals, your brainstorming. It's almost a similar scenario. You test it, figure it out. Everybody taking screenshots of that? And this is basically how I do systems. I kind of write down my workflow, like this happens, and then I just kind of dial in on each one. And then I just start building them. So an easy way I do it is I get Google Slides. I open up Google Slides. I write the subject, new restaurant construction, or how to raise money for a restaurant, or banking with the restaurant, whatever my subject is. And then then I start either explaining it to someone, or I start going through what was the first thing that I need to do. Well, I have to have a business plan. So I put that on there, and then I go in the second slide, I need to have this, and then this next slide. And then if it's real important, like the construction side, I might make a whole other system. Okay, I know it's kind of complicated, but now this works in sequence, and then I ask it, and I print it out for a friend, and I have them try to go through it. And then some people work visually. Okay, and there's no right or wrong. Mind mapping is, I think, the best thing on the planet Earth. You just visualize, this is a good exercise. I think Ron Harris still does this, I'm not really sure, but he does this thing called the brain dump. Has anybody ever heard of that before? Where you just got, you just need to try to dump out all the steps. And what's gonna happen if you actually do this exercise, that you just get a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper, and a pen, and you sit at your kitchen table, and you just write it down, I promise you, you'll just feel better just writing it down. Just writing it down. It could be that process, it could be your dream. I think there's something to say about writing things down. All right, that's it. This is the restaurant on 23rd Street. I would love for you to come. If you want to text me and we can go and have lunch together, I might buy you something. I learned this, what's interesting? This just fascinates me. So, a lot of people ask me about real estate for 25 years, and it's really hard to get someone to buy a property. Even though it's really easy to financial freedom through real estate, it's the easiest. But I noticed as soon as I did a restaurant, it's a whole new, people are more drawn to food. It's interesting, like even my daughter. My dad owns a restaurant, like that's whack in my mind. But in their world, that's the coolest thing on the planet. Something about food and restaurant. It is the highest risk thing in the planet. More restaurants fail than any other entity. Isn't that wild? But food brings people together. Tal knew that. And there was amazing food today. And I'm always like, I don't understand. I mean, it's amazing. I don't understand how that works. Food just makes people feel comfortable. And so there's another book out there called Never Eat Alone. Anybody know about that book? It's a really good book. All right. Questions? Any questions? Yes, sir.
Why did you choose Chiba?
Okay, that's a great question. My partner in the accounting firm, she brought it to me. She's like, Stephen, I think we should buy this franchise. And I was like, okay. And it has, it's called Countercultural. It has like some marijuana themed items, but there's no marijuana there. But it's just countercultural, like Cheech and Chong, fun stuff. And she brought it to me, and she was the one that brought me to the accounting firm and let me be a part of her accounting firm, so I felt obligated. And then I just did a bunch of due diligence. I went to a bunch of stores, ate at a bunch of restaurants all over the country. There's 25 years they've been in business. There's 70 locations, so this is a franchise. And when I started, I was really anti-marijuana. I know that's funny, but I'm not really I don't smoke weed. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. There's nothing wrong with that. But I felt, like this is not me. Like marijuana is not on my back, But after I got into the culture and I went to all the stores, it was an amazing concept where, I wrote this out the other day. It's like it serves all five senses. Everyone's welcome there. If you ever go to the restaurant, there'll be an 80-year-old person in there and a stoner sitting next to each other. It's the craziest thing. You'll have diversity. All colors, creeds, and sexual orientation. That baffles me. And they go to the restaurant and they're married. It's just an interesting thing. So then my final decision was, weed's never gonna die. Weed's been around forever. People have been smoking weed, Andrew Cross. Been smoking weed for a long time. And I was like, and I like that it's countercultural. I like that people come there. I have a gal that works there. It's just an amazing place. And it has a bar too. So it has all these senses. It's a place for community, for sandwiches and food. It's gourmet food. The guy that started it was a chef and he was a stoner. It's a weird combination. And all the sauces in there are all handmade. We make all the sauces there every day. All the desserts, all that stuff. It's just an interesting restaurant. I never knew. I was just the money person. She came to me with this concept. I was the funding and I was doing the construction. That's my only job there. And then during that process, I fell in love with the restaurant. But I never knew that I'd ever own a restaurant. You can buy me out at any time. It's not my end goal. It's just a process. I have 3 stores that I'm building here and probably 3 stores in Tulsa. And after that, I'll probably sell them. She'll probably buy them. Who knows? Or I'll buy them from her and then I'll sell them. I don't know. But it's a great process and it's expensive, but it was a good, this is where I think you should get out of the comfort zone, because I was completely out of my comfort zone. Raising the money, when I went to the bank, they said no. And I'm like, what? Well, first of all, every restaurant fails and there's no assets. So stick with real estate. So I had to pledge a bunch of real estate to get the money to open the restaurant, which is why real estate's so powerful. Now, after approved model, the bank that I got the money from, I was like, 12 months of seasoning? No, 24 months minimum before we'll even loan you more money. So I have to, there's other ways to get funding privately, you can raise money. So it's an interesting process. Good question. Yes? Okay, awesome. So franchises don't like that, creativity or going outside the box. This is a young franchise, and they're somewhat aggressive, but we're pretty flexible. They want them to be the decor we can do, and they're a young franchise, and they're stoners up there in Colorado. So, and they're figuring it out too. But we have some latitude, but we can't swap out the menu. But we have some cool things that we have a lot more flexibility comparative to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A. No, they'll smash you. They'll take you over. But there's some flexibility there. I don't know if that makes sense, but we don't have to tell them that we're going to put, I hang my bike in there. I have 2 bikes in there. We didn't have to ask them for that. We don't have to. We can pretty much do kind of what we think is going to be best. Our marketing, we control all our own marketing. Yes.
Steven, how does it compare with startup costs? And you don't have to do that necessarily.
I can give you startup cost for this, for the restaurant.
That's a low end versus obviously
Well, it's interesting. The Quiznos, when I was doing the research, whoever asked me that, Quiznos failed. Did anybody know why Quiznos failed? There's a lot of good YouTube videos on Quiznos and failing, is because the franchise, and this is what franchises are scary, they control the paper and the cups, and they were charging people $1 a cup, the franchisee, when the economy was dying, and you can go down the store and get that cup for 10 cents. But it was in their franchise agreement that you have to buy their cups from them directly. So that's a scary scenario. That's why Quiznos failed, because the top leadership, there were some scandals, and they just weren't thinking of the franchisee. In my mind, I wish I was the guy that owned it, because there's 70 stores, he's making $10 million. We pay about 12%, 10 to 12, depends on how you look at it, because you have costs and fees. So to build the restaurant was $1.3 million.
So you obviously have several different businesses. You've changed from together.
Right.
Did you get to a place in your business where you thought, I gotta do something different, I'm tired of this, or what was it that caused you to switch from one to the other?
They were all logical to me. So actually, before all this, 10 years I was in the music business. I was on tour with a band, and I just get kind of burned out, and I just get lucky. I just see the writing on the wall, like real estate. I just see the writing on the wall. That's why I left real estate. I mean, I don't do that much real estate as much. I mean, I still manage assets and stuff, but it's just the government controls, the Fed, all this stuff is happening. Airbnb laws are coming in. I knew that was going to happen. That's why I got out. When you can't have control, and these books, Millionaire Fastlane really talks about control. If you don't have control of your asset or what you're doing, it's gonna go awry. But it was just all natural progressions to me. Does that make sense? Or it's an entrepreneur, definition of an entrepreneur is solving a problem. What's the problem? There wasn't a restaurant like this. There was a demand. A lot of people in Dallas were going to Chiba, and it's a Colorado concept. It's actually from Arizona, but there's like 17 stores in Colorado, and a lot of people talk about it. Anybody that smokes weed knows about it. So it's just an interesting concept. Yes, Joanne. Because the food's amazing. The chicken's marinated every day. It's just for the amount of money that you spend, it's like an average ticket's $20. And it's garlic bread. All the sauces are made. You've been there, right? How many times? It's an incredible restaurant. But when you walk in, some people don't know that it has this countercultural, and then they eat it and they love the food. It's awesome to see people eat the food and be happy. It's weird. The cookie is incredible. I don't know. But I never desired to be in a restaurant business. I worked at McDonald's when I was 14 years old. I worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken when I was 16. I worked at Red Lobster when I was in college. These are terrible experiences in my world. I hated smelling like a cheeseburger every time I came home. I throw my clothes down and I go to the shower and come back, I can still smell cheeseburger. Anybody who work food service? Yeah, I vowed never to work in restaurant. And then it's fun, they try to teach me how to do it, and I won't show up. But I actually I cut bread the other day, and I think I made some pretzels. I'm like, I gotta shake it and all this. I'm like, what? They have systems that I didn't make that runs that thing. It's fascinating. All right, Michael.
What do you struggle with?
Purpose, next step, vision. Circumstances arise in my life that, I'm learning lately. My struggle was I realized that I controlled everything. And that's why I love the book, Let Them, is where it's okay that they're mad at me. It's okay, that's them, they can get mad. And so, before I was a Mr. Nice Guy, took things too personal. Now it's really hard for me now, it's like being selfish. I don't know if you've been raised as a Christian and you realize, sacrifice and do this. Now it's like, what do I want to do? And that's why I'm advocating now, and I'm honored to be here today, is you need to think about you. It's your life. Make your decisions that are going to fulfill you. So I don't know if that's a struggle, but it's an overcoming, and I'm constantly, I have a thing called the ruminating brain, which is, Google that up, it's very fascinating. And just trying to be a better human and make this place a better place for everyone. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Yes, you. I can't see your name today. I can't remember your name. Wes, that's right. I see you on Facebook everywhere.
One of Andrew's projects.
Okay.
He told me last week I need to be raising private capital because things are changing.
Sure. Here you go. Here's a book for you, man. This book right here, you can get on Amazon. You can get the audio. It's my most successful book. I've written 5 books, but this is probably by far the most successful book. I wrote this book for people like you that it's hard or insecure to ask people for money or don't know how to do it. And then it's also written for the person that has the money that knows how to loan it to you. So there's kids out there around the country. It blows my mind. Some kid will email me, I bought 30 of your books and I gave them away and I raised several $100,000. He just buys the book and hands it to people. They read the book, they're like, hey, I want to be in real estate, but I don't want to do the work. I just want to loan you the money. So that's the main. I never knew. I just struggled, and I wrote it selfishly. So there's a lot of high net worth people, and I was always explaining to them how it works. It's collateralized, and I just hand them the book, and then they loan me the money. So that was the main reason. That's how I raise money. Yeah, just read the book, understand the simple concepts. You'll know what to say, and then if you get into a relationship with someone that you know that you want to borrow from, you might want to gift them the book or loan them the book and just have a conversation. To borrow money, it's got to be their idea. I want to be successful enough that I want to loan you money because you're successful. You have to have a bulletproof. I guarantee I'm raising millions of dollars right now for restaurants. I just bring them to the restaurant. It's so easy now. We're going to open another one in Tulsa. I'll give you 8%, 10% on your money, pay back in 3 years. It's a no-brainer because I already have a proven business model. So if you're a real estate investor and you've done, how many deals have you purchased or bought for one of your hundreds? Over 100. Well, that would be my first slide on my presentation or my first email. And I would write my email a little bit more curtailed to this individual, but hi, my name is Wes. I'm a real estate investor. I've been in the real estate space for blank, blank, blank years. 10 years, 5 years, 6 months. Or no, I wouldn't say 6 months. For 3 years, I've done over 100 transactions. I'm looking to assemble a team, and I can help you make more money. And I would say a little bit more classier, and that's an introduction. It's all in that book. Everything I just said is in there. Yes, sir.
Can you talk about building intensity as it relates to your writing process?
Well, you said build into a city?
Intensity or purpose as it relates
Oh, for me?
Yeah, as a writer.
Oh, why I wrote the books? Oh, interesting. Great question. I was in a seminar just like this. Anybody ever heard of Alan Cogill? Well, at the time, I never graduated college. I dropped out like 5 times. And I knew that one day, this is interesting, I knew one day that I needed credibility. And so I decided the guy was doing a seminar on writing a book will give you instant credibility. And I believed that. And I never needed the book for credibility because of banks would just loan. So I wrote the book personally because everyone said that it can't be done, and I hired a ghostwriter to help me, and we met every Monday and Friday for 9 months. But I did it for a personal goal to see if I could do it. My first book, which is like 300-some pages, and in that my first book goes into every asset I purchased, all the way up to my apartment for 10 years. So, and I give addresses, 620 Northwest 31st, 200 Northeast 14th, and how I bought the deal, how I acquired the money. A lot of them are owner financed, some of them bank funding. But my original goal to write the book is said that you can't do it. I was a child, and you're illiterate, you're dumb, you're never gonna make it. And I just want to prove everybody wrong. And so when I sold the deal, I had like a bunch of cash, and I wanted to do what I wanted to do, and this is in 2010. I hired a book writer and wrote the book. I never knew that it would be where it was today or whatever. And I realized after I wrote the book, no one reads. So it's stupid. And I haven't gotten rich off the book. So it's more of a city of pain. And so then the other book I have, that coaching book, here, hold that up for me. That's that's my latest book. That came out in November. And that's for children, not children, but for humans that don't know how to make money. And they're always like, I don't know how to make money. Well, you can be, like Grace could be a coach to bookkeepers. And she should charge people to teach them QuickBooks. I mean, when I met Grace, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, she was in her space and her passion was QuickBooks, certificate, and helping people set up their chart of accounts. And people don't even know what the F that means. And then Grace would sit there, slowly talk to them, and she should charge a fee for that. That's coaching. And that's what that book talks about. That everyone in this room has a skill set that they can help someone coach. You just don't believe you can't. But I'm willing to pay you to solve a problem for me. I hire a ton of coaches all the time. And it might be a season, it might be a while. since I said that, Mr. Hypocrite, I'm trying to think, who am I paying right now? There's somebody I'm paying somewhere. Well, we have a coach from my CEO of the accounting firm. She's paying $1,800 a month to Magellan. If you don't know what Magellan is, a local coaching CEO thing. Type in Magellan. It's in Oklahoma City, and they have all these retired CEOs and all these disciplines. And you can hire them, they'll place you, and get you to the next level. So it's interesting. All right, is that it? Any other questions? Yes?
Well, you said nobody will read the book. If I have a copy of your book, I'll read it.
Okay, there you go. I like that. There you go, we'll give you the big one. Yeah, no, yeah. Very good.
Reading capital, that's
Oh, that's one you, I'll be nice. Yeah, you trader. There you go. Okay, that's it.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So, you mentioned you have, I know you previously, you did single-family homes, and you get into commercials, and now you're getting into different type of asset of commercials.
Right.
So do you still own single-family homes?
Yes,
Okay.
they're headed.
So you sold some of them, and then?
Yes, I sell them. Every time they come up, someone moves out or it costs too much money to repair them. I'm selling them all the time. I constantly sell them. Because I'm just trading up. They're just, and now my focus is straight cash flow, entrepreneur, passive business and partnerships. So I don't even look at real estate anymore. I know this is a real estate thing, but I'm sorry. But I mean, if the market crashes, I'll probably gobble them all up. But for now, no. What I think about and work on all day is what's the next business that I want to partner with, or what can I put capital into?
He jumped on the right side of the point.
Yeah, I'm definitely an I, 100. But it's fun. I think real estate's a great vehicle. I mean, I own the restaurant because I can pledge 10 properties that pledge that restaurant, and they loan me the money for that. So I'm trapped because I have these 10 debt-free assets, $1.3 million collateralized on $1 million loan. So, but real estate's powerful. I don't think I'll ever be out of it. It's just, if the prices are too high, it isn't cash flow, I'm working for the bank, taxes are out of control, insurance is off the effing charts, so let's not go there. So I see the writing on the wall, I'm out. I'm out. Until insurance changes, and I don't know if you're political, and I'm not a political person, but Governor Stent is trying to fix the insurance problem that we have here in the state of Oklahoma. It is a problem. Call your friends in New Mexico and ask them how much they pay for insurance for a similar asset that we're paying for. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? And just so you know, when you have this insurance, if you have a bank loan, you have to have insurance. And guess if that insurance has doubled. Has anybody's insurance has doubled? That's your cash flow. You just lost all the things that you're working for. Now, the economy has changed and we've increased our value because Oklahoma is an amazing state, and our value has appreciated, which has subsided that, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a train wreck coming. Yes, Ray.
So, I'm 14. How do you suggest that I get started and preferably
Make money now? Just in anything? My favorite is services online, like ghostwriting. You can ghostwrite for somebody else, and you don't have to write anything. You just be the middle person. You advertise. I'm a college person. I love to write nonfiction. And you have this whole blog about how awesome you are. And then I charge this much money, and then you hire someone else in Bangladesh to do it for you. There's a true story. There's a guy I know that has written over 60 horror novels and has never written them. And he has like 5 pen names, and he lives large in New York. And no one knows any of his pen names. And these novels are this thick, and he has thousands and thousands of sold a month. And he pays like $200 to $500 for the author to write a novel this thick, because they're so passionate, because they don't know how to get published. It'll blow your mind. If you want to know about that, follow Millionaire Fastlane Forum. There's a ton of those guys in there. But I would arbitrage. I would find a skill like that you can get low, sell high. Jim Rohn says that. And, you know, I don't know, I used to test kids all the time. Here's an industry that I would make resume. Well, you got AI now, right? So we gotta navigate from AI. But you know, years ago for fun, I would make this kid go make a website, was edmundresumes.com, and advertise that you make medical professional resumes for undergrads. And you would charge $150 for a resume, and someone else would build it for him for $20 to $50, and he was making $100 a pop. How many resumes do you need to do a month to live? Caleb's world, only 25. That's it. There's so many ways to make money, we just make it uncomfortable or complicated. It's really simple. Yes, sir?
What was your why?
Well, my why, that's a great question. My why in the beginning, I didn't want to be poor. I didn't want to be like my mom. I didn't want to struggle. Work 3 jobs. My why now is totally different. But when I got to 100 units, when I got to over 10 million, that was my driver. And then I realized, and I read Die to Zero, and my life has completely changed. My why now is be free, ride mountain bikes, and that's why I'm selling a lot of my assets. I'm closing down my property management. I'm doing all kinds of stuff so I have no responsibility. I just want to be free about anything. And just enough cash flow, just like Caleb. Just enough cash flow to survive. That's it. That's my why now. Be a better human. Help people. Right? Before I got to 25 units, I got to get to a 50, and then I got to 100 units, 100 houses in Oklahoma City, then I got to 150. And it's just more of a job, more of a headache, more of a waste of time. You can live a great life at 10 houses, 16 houses. I have some really good friends that have 17 houses that live large. They're free. They're traveling right now, just living the best life ever. You want to live right now. Because like she said, I mean, these 2 folks up here, the Coons earlier, were just dropping bombs on people. I was over there shaking. That's exactly right. That's exactly how you do it. You can't, you work this so hard and then you turn 80 and you can't even enjoy it. I mean, he talks about, there's so many stories in that book I haven't memorized. I should have went to Europe when I was 19. This is a great story in that book, where when I was he compares buying experiences. And there was he compares these 2 guys, himself and somebody else. They worked in a hedge fund or wherever, and they were scraping by. They were making $1,200 a month, and they were scrimping every penny. And then his buddy went and borrowed $10,000 from a friend to go to Europe for a month. And he went to Europe for a month, and the other dude stayed home, and he was working, saving money, not getting cafe lattes. And the premise of the book is that you're going to make more money later in life if you make the right choices and decisions. But the $10,000 debt that he was in, the experience to go to Europe for a whole year has run with him for his whole life. It's a story that he never, he'll tell that experience over and over again. That's what it's all about. It's about experiences. And I used to didn't like millennials when I first met those little dudes. Millennials rolling around, no goals, work for 2 days and off for 8 days. No care in the world. These little punks. I'm one of those people now. I remember I used to be in a band, and dude would work at Lowe's for like 6 months and then disappear for a year. I mean, what are you gonna do when you get back? Experiences. That's my why now. My experiences. If that makes sense. I don't need a fancy car. I don't need anything. I just want experiences. Yes, Ron.
Working with your kids. What's any tips? I'm about to start.
Working with kids.
Your kids in your business.
My kids working on. I hope they never work for my business. I don't want them to work for my business.
Working with them.
Well, how do I work with them? First of all, I taught them how to negotiate. You should take them to the flea market. That's the number 1 thing I did. Here's another thing. Number 1, I taught them, every Saturday I took them to the flea market, I taught them how to negotiate and teach them that there's different people besides you being white. That's number 1. Number 2, I paid them for social media. I go, if you don't get on social media at all, I'll give you $5,000 when you turn 18. I would do that. That's worked for one of my children. My other child, it didn't work. And she's definitely different because of social media. I'd also wait on giving them a cell phone. You can give them a flip phone. I would wait as long as possible. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Those are the tips that I've learned. Just spend time with them, love them, figure out what their love language is. My son is more quality time and just hanging out. Like I took him to the mall today, and he's all about fashion and has a bag, a sling bag. I mean, you're I don't know what's going on here with this deal. And I'm like, you're 14 years old, trying to be cool. Just love on them. And I think that's the best impact that you can do. It doesn't take money. It just takes time. They just want to be heard. I just listen. Why you like fashion? You just spent $150 on a sweatshirt that I can go to Ross and buy for $20. That's how I think. I'm about stretching my dollar. But he just spent $150 for his birthday. That's his money. That's his money. He'll figure it out. But I didn't try to coax him. I didn't try to change him. I didn't make him feel bad. Because you know why? I let him. And that's what the book talks about. You let him be him. Let him be him. Don't try to change people. Let people, it's a better place if we let people be who they are in all aspects. All right. Is that it, party people? Was this work? Was it valuable? Yeah. You need to thank Tal.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter @LandlordBook and always be buying assets.